Imagine stepping out of your body and finding yourself in a place that feels both familiar and otherworldly. That's what happened to me when I projected into the astral plane. I found myself in a hospital, but not just any hospital. The corridors were wide, well-lit, with polished floors and gleaming walls. The smell of antiseptic filled the air, just like a real hospital. But this wasn't a physical place. It was a construct of the astral realm, a way station for souls transitioning between lives. In many spiritual traditions, such places are described as halls of healing or resting places for the departed. The famous psychic Edgar case often spoke of such realms where souls receive guidance and care. As I stood there, I felt a profound sense of peace, despite the clinical setting. It was clear this was a place of transition, not an end. At the center of the corridor was a nurse's station, manned by a young nurse in a crisp white uniform. She was speaking with two men in business suits who seemed calm yet authoritative. They looked like high-ranking executives, but here they were just visitors, perhaps saying goodbye to a loved one. The nurse directed them away, and as they left, tears streamed down one man's face. This reminded me of the ancient Egyptian concept of the weighing of the heart, where souls are guided by deities. In modern near-death experiences, people often report meeting beings of light or guides who help them transition. The nurse here acted as a gatekeeper, controlling access. When I asked to see my friend Peter, she hesitated, saying he was resting. Only after I pleaded did she relent, showing that even in the astral realm, compassion prevails. Following the nurse's directions, I entered a room filled with strange reference devices, metal poles with wire branches holding numbered plastic cards. They looked like giant greeting card carousels, each marked with a letter. I approached the one labeled A and searched for Peter's number, 31. As I touched the card, I felt a dimensional shift, as if I was being shuffled in a giant deck of cards. This was no ordinary filing system. It was a metaphysical library of souls. In Tibetan Buddhism, there is the concept of the Bardo Thodol or Tibetan Book of the Dead, which describes intermediate states where souls navigate after death. This room seemed like a cosmic database where each soul's record is stored. The act of finding a number triggered a shift, transporting me directly to Peter's location. It was a reminder that in the astral plane, intention and focus can instantly change your reality. I found myself outside a motel-like room in a beautiful garden. Inside, the atmosphere was thick and depressing, smelling strongly of alcohol. Beer cans and bottles littered the floor, and a single armchair sat empty. At the back, a large tub filled with frothy liquid held a floating couch where Peter lay, fitfully sleeping. He was curled up, occasionally scooping suds into his mouth. This was a shocking sight, a representation of his addiction in the astral realm. In spiritual terms, this is known as a thought form or mental environment created by one's own mind. Peter's attachment to alcohol had manifested as this beer-filled room. It's akin to the concept of hell realms in Buddhism, where beings create their own suffering through attachment. I realized that Peter was trapped in a cycle of his own making, and only he could break free. As I sat with Peter, the door opened and a doctor entered, followed by Peter's mother and father. They waded into the tub and tried to wake him, gently shaking and talking to him. Peter briefly lifted himself, looking around before sinking back into his drunken stupor. This intervention mirrored real-life attempts to help someone with addiction, but here it was on a spiritual level. The doctor represented a guide or healer, while his parents embodied unconditional love. In many spiritual traditions, souls in the afterlife are visited by loved ones and guides to help them release attachments. The famous medium James Van Praagh often describes such scenes where souls are encouraged to let go. This moment showed that even in the astral plane, support is available, but the individual must choose to accept it. Leaving Peter's room, I felt a mix of sadness and hope. This experience taught me that the astral plane is not just a place of wonder, but also a mirror of our inner world. Our thoughts, emotions, and attachments shape our reality there. For Peter, his addiction had created a prison of his own making. But the presence of his parents and the doctor showed that help is always available. This aligns with the law of attraction, like attracts like. To change your astral environment, you must change your mindset. In my own life, I've learned to practice mindfulness and release attachments, knowing that they can follow me beyond death. If you're exploring astral projection, remember that your intentions matter. Use this knowledge to heal and grow, not just to satisfy curiosity. Inspired by this journey, I want to share some tips for successful astral projection. First, set a clear intention before sleep. Visualize where you want to go, like visiting a friend. Second, practice relaxation techniques, such as progressive muscle relaxation or deep breathing, to induce the vibrational state. Third, use affirmations like "I am aware and conscious as I drift off." Fourth, keep a dream journal to record your experiences, which trains your mind to remember. Lastly, don't be discouraged by fear. The astral plane is safe if you approach it with love. Remember, your thoughts create your reality, so focus on positive outcomes. Many practitioners, like Robert Monroe, have written extensively on these methods. Start small, perhaps by exploring your own home, and gradually venture further. The astral realm is your playground. Explore it with respect and curiosity.